Hi Pisces, and welcome to your May. I almost forgot the month there. Your May 2017 tarot reading with me, JJ. My name is JJ for all those new viewers of mine. Nice to have you here. So you guys, it feels like forever. It really has felt like this past month has gone by, like April went by really slowly. At least for me. I don't know what it's been like for you guys, but of course I'm always wishing and hoping for the best for everyone. So I've just been sitting here in my corner for a very long time, trying to go back to my old ways of spending as much time as I possibly can meditating before I come to each reading. Recently I've had more of an inclination to deliver these readings in a more timely fashion, so without having too much time go by from one sign to the next. However, I've come to find that honestly I enjoy dedicating more time to each sign. I don't want to deliver the readings in a crammed way like I did last month, just for the sake of pleasing everyone. I can't do that, unfortunately. I really can't. My readings become less accurate. I become less comfortable with the way I deliver the cards to you, and I start jumbling up energies and not that that's your problem, but I felt like it would be relevant for me to say this during the Pisces video. Why? Because that's how I caught on. That's how I caught on to the fact that I wanted to start with you, Pisces, because I felt like I was tapping into this very unknown energy. This energy of not being able to pinpoint what I'm really feeling. It's very confusing energy. Confusing energy is adopted very well by Pisces and not so well by other signs. So you are very much in your element when you are daydreaming, when you're thinking of perhaps a million things at the same time. Whereas I may struggle when that happens to me. This doesn't mean that I am currently struggling right now to deliver this reading to you, but what it means is that when I woke up this morning, a bunch of things came to me. So much came to me that it was almost overwhelming. And seeing as it is the beginning of the month and I hadn't begun with any of the readings, I went into a state of slight panic, thinking to myself that I don't want to disappoint any of my viewers. So with you, well, you were the first sign that came to my mind, and I felt like I was adopting this very Piscean mindset of just going with the flow, regardless of knowing what's around the corner, because that's really the feeling that I'm getting. And when I was meditating on your sign, I will shuffle as I speak because I don't want to waste too much of your time. While I was meditating on your sign, this strong message came to me, and it was being on the brink. On the brink. Those three words specifically. On the brink of what, though, is what I would like to ask you. Oh, wow, that really flew out. What is it that Pisces is on the brink of in May 2017? I found it even more interesting that a hanged man vibe was attached to that statement when it came to me. And again, this knowledge of not knowing, which is an oxymoron, I know, but this feeling of not knowing and yet standing still and hanging on and being on the brink was all associated to that, neatly packaged. And I looked down because, you know, I'm just sitting here in my corner. I love this corner. And I looked down and I noticed that even the way that I'm sitting looks like the Hanged Man in the tarot, which I found very, very interesting. Of course, I can't show you the perspective that I see right now, and yet to me that was quite an intrigue. It's never really happened. So and perhaps, that's the tone that we're expected to set this month. This feeling of being on the brink of things, waiting for things to happen, but not so impatient. Not being too impatient about it, just allowing things to kind of unfold the way that they should. Again, the way that they should, okay, being something that is still not very clear to you or to anyone around you, because you may not have all the details and the information that a person would want to have in order to feel better about how they're going to move on, right? How is it that we plan our days? Some signs are a lot more focused than other signs. Some people really love to make lists. I don't think Pisces is one of those, but of course I don't want to generalize or stereotype here. A lot of us are, again, an amalgamation of signs, right? So what I mean to say is that it is this feeling that sometimes we can't have a lot of control, and we need to seek comfort in what we don't know. We need to kind of let go of our any controlling issues that we may have, and find solace in the fact that our days will unfold however they should unfold, and we may have some degree of control in terms of the decisions that we make, but we can't always be expected to make those decisions in a timely order. So we can't expect to make a decision today that will inevitably stay as it is until tomorrow, because between today and tomorrow, 1,000,001 things can happen to us, and the plans that we've come to make may not be able to take form as a result of simple events that happen in a day, right? Even if you decide to stay home all day, then your opportunities of meeting someone that is meant to be in your life, for example, in that day becomes less of a possibility, correct? Unless a random stranger knocks on your door or rings your doorbell, how is it that you're going to meet someone new? It is the decisions that we take that truly influence, that will influence how our days unfold. And yet, at the very same time, we are not born with this innate knowledge. We do not wake up knowing that we need to walk out of the door. So we don't know that staying home is going to be detrimental or not to us. So it's very much about letting go and letting things just be, and finding refuge in that confusion. And I'm already confused. 9 minutes in. I'm already confused. Like, what is going on? This is so accurate. Yeah, the filter, I mean. Sorry. Okay. So I've drawn all your cards. And all of that just came out of my mouth kind of has nothing to do with the cards that have popped out. I mean, it might have a lot to do with the cards that have popped out, but I wasn't really paying attention of the cards while they were jumping out, is what I mean to say. So, having a look here, we have the Four of Wands, the Eight of Cups, Five of Swords, Nine of Cups, and a whole bunch of others that we'll get to. But let's take things one step at a time here. This is very interesting. So, it always brings me some sadness to see, particularly this combination of cards, come together in a reading. Because it tells me that you've had to forsake a situation that was of high emotional value to you, something that, something as big and important as a marriage, a house, and a partnership, or even the departation from a house share of sorts. So we may not even be talking about, wow, I keep dropping the cards today. We may not even be talking about an official marriage or a romantic relationship here, but we may be talking about a contract of sorts still, whereby you might be young and sharing a house with more than one person, and you've been in this house for quite a long time, and yet find yourself needing to leave for a variety of reasons. And this might have been a very difficult decision to take, but one that was still necessary nonetheless, and one that you view in the long term will make you happier, something that helps you regain control and power of your own personal situation here. So although we start on a sad note, we know that things might get a little bit tricky down the line, and you knew that this was not going to be a decision that would make a lot of people very happy, including yourself on the short term. But you know that your discomfort, perhaps, was not one that was going to last for very long, and that if you were going to have a rather negative effect, it was going to affect those around you more than it was going to affect you. In the long term, your happiness was on the line. And ultimately, your goal was to really regain the upper hand in your situation, regain full control of your situation. This is a card that tells me that it is necessary to put your foot down, even if it means that a few people, especially people who are used to having control, might get disappointed. In essence, what you were aiming to do is trigger this Tower card here. This has been a long time coming, and if this has not shown up yet in your life, it is yet to come. You will know when the Tower begins to take effect, because it will be sudden, it will be quick, very spontaneous, and not expected in a sense. So it's interesting that I say that, because this feeling of being on the brink means that you expect something to happen, correct? However, you do not know when it may happen. It could happen today, it can happen tomorrow, it can happen in a week, or it can happen in a month. And this factor of unknowing is what really causes us to feel very impatient. It's one that it can be, we can decide whether or not it's going to cause us discomfort because we continue to wait and procrastinate, and we do not know how to organize our days because we keep ruminating on the same thoughts over and over again, like this feeling of something about to happen, and yet we do not know when it's going to happen. And we can choose we can allow it to cause us discomfort, or we can decide to let go, move on with our days, and embrace that change, this very spontaneous, unexpected change when it hits our home with this Tower card. And when it comes very quickly. It sweeps everyone off their feet. And usually after the Tower card, you are expected to start from scratch again, yet with a new and fresh perspective. You are expected to gather the pieces that remain from this very abrupt energy that usually destroys quite a few relationships, perhaps, destroys a few fundamental stepping stones, that we thought were ideal for our situation. It takes all of that away. It sweeps us literally off the ground, forcing us to create new ground for ourselves. But it leaves us with bits and pieces that we can take along with us. Those bits and pieces are lessons learned, even memories, even associations that are meant to be in our future and are meant to be in a new mix, a new formula that you put together again to build yourself a better, more optimistic future. This is yet to come. Okay. So, with this letting go here, again, we are causing discomfort for those around us. A feeling of resentment may be triggered, whereby you find that you may feel as though you have taken from other people's happiness in order to satisfy your own needs. And these people are the ones that feel like they now may have resent for you. They may have resent for you, and you will feel perhaps, or you have already felt, perhaps the need to give back to these people, to show them that you haven't acted out of selfishness or carelessness. No, you've acted out of your own self-best interest, which doesn't have to clash with theirs. However, unfortunately, sometimes the people that we love around us, because they love us, their ego sometimes tries to get the best out of them. And it does this by kind of interrupting this ability to unconditionally love. It's kind of like a defense mechanism. When you try to walk away from people and situations, others can sometimes take it personally, and that's what I mean here by ego getting in the way. And it leaves you with this feeling that you need to give back, that you need to show them at a later stage that you didn't do this to harm anyone, that you still care, and that you're still going to be there, perhaps in a different form. Whatever this situation is, it can be quite a shock. Not for you, but for others around you who are just trying to understand where this is coming from. To some degree, so are you. To some degree, you are also trying to understand how this is going to help you progress. And this not knowing how to progress, not understanding fully the premise of the decisions that you've taken, bothers you, but not as much as it would have a few years ago. Down the line, you are expected still to make a decision. Again, though, without having access to information that would allow you to make a more informed decision. But perhaps life experience has already shown you that you can't always wait around for the right set of data to come your way before you can say you have enough knowledge to move on. Sometimes we don't have this luxury to spend our nights thinking, analyzing. Sometimes we just have to trust in the process and hope that others around us are also going to trust in our process, which is not something that I can say for everyone, because I guess, it really depends on how old you are, how old the people around you are, how mature we all are, and how mature our coming together is. You could have a very mature person in a room, and they may be trying to explain something to someone a lot younger. And ergo, perhaps because they are a lot younger, they may not be as mature, perhaps. Yet this other person's wise presence balances things out pretty nicely, that even in the presence of someone much younger, the coming togetherness is appropriate. The energies that they both combine is very appropriate. There is balance there, nonetheless. The child may be able to remind the adult that it's all about what makes us happy at the end of the day. Like, I know that eating this candy might ruin my lunch, but if I don't have my candy, I'm not going to be happy, Mom. So just give me the candy. And it's not going to kill me. So the child reminds the adult that it's not the end of the day if they make a decision that is ultimately perhaps selfish on their part, but leads to their own happiness ultimately. And we need to take care of our needs. We need to take care of our needs, satisfy ourselves, feel like we are in control. So that we can help ourselves. And by helping ourselves, we can give back. And this might cause a delay, okay? So our process of evolution, our process of trying to start fresh and anew might be very, very abrupt for the people who love us, care about us. It causes hindrances and interruptions in our relationships, certain tensions. But this is needed because you come out of it stronger. You come out of it stronger and really ultimately feeling more capable of giving back. So this is kind of like the central issue here, the theme that the entire reading revolves around. And all of these events happening around this central issue happen to be rather abrupt, which is why we need this Four of Swords here. To help us through this stage of self-reflection and introspection. So things might seem, rather hazy and foggy and confusing, very ambiguous, and it's kind of like I'm speaking in gibberish right now. Because even I feel this way, right? But despite the confusion and the very odd energies, erratic energies that are surrounding the central point here, our ability, our capability to help and give to those around us, becomes a bit clearer at the very end of the month, perhaps. This is the last card that's come out of your reading here, the Two of Swords, which tells me that at the end of the month, you might still be foggy, you might still be hazy about a few things, right? But you will be confronted, nonetheless, with a necessity to make a decision. Or make a decision on behalf of someone else as well. So this decision will not just involve you, yourself, but it will involve another person here. And if they are unable to make a decision, you will make a decision for them, on behalf of them, on behalf of the both of you here, if we are talking about a relationship. Neither of you will really truly have the answers. You may have, through this reflection here, come up with a pros and cons list of what you will gain and what you may lose. And you may come to find that this list is very equal. So there are as many advantages as there are disadvantages, so you might easily choose one route over the other. But at the end of the day, if you don't choose, a decision will be made for you, or you will be stuck in limbo. At this point in time, there is no hurry, though. That is the essence of the Hanged Man that says it's okay for you to take a pause, to take a break, and reflect on those selfish needs and desires for the time being. It's okay if people in the meanwhile may have to wait for you to have a clearer head, clearer mind of the direction that you want to take and you want to head in. They may not understand how big this is for you. To them, they're thinking that you might be sacrificing a lot of valuable time for the sake of nothing. But for you, this is a process that needs to happen. To you, people don't see how huge and impending this foreign event is. Because perhaps it is a small fragment in the abyss of the unknown, of your own life path, your own destiny that will come together eventually. Not this month, perhaps not even this year. I'm talking over the span of your life. This is just a small piece, small puzzle piece in the massive puzzle piece that is your life, that you're slowly putting together. And as you construct this puzzle piece, it does not make sense on its own. It doesn't make sense. But there is an inner knowing which you don't need to justify to anyone. You really don't. As long as it is an inner knowing that satisfies you. When the time comes, you will take that leap. You will break from this very gated way of thinking. You will break free from it. So, have a look at these two cards here. Okay. She is blindfolded to some extent, right? She could still peer down and she can still see her feet from her perspective. But she's been bound, she's been tied up here. Her feet are free though. She's free to walk. In this state of panic though, she might not realize it. This requires tapping into our other senses while we feel blinded, we feel restricted. We still have our sense of touch on the ground with our feet. We still have our hearing. We still have our smell. And you can still make a decision to walk forward, knowing that you might not have your hands, but you do have your feet. You do have the ability to move forward. You might not see your path very clearly, but you see enough for you to take the necessary steps forward nonetheless, so that you don't plunge into the waters and you can follow the... Is scaffolding the right word here? Probably not. But you can decide to follow the path that's laid out here with the rocks. In this photo, this person is not bound at all. Their hands are free. Their legs are free. They are by the ocean. The only thing that's getting in their way is the blindfold. But again, just want to make sure here. If you look very closely at this picture, if you own a deck like this, have a look. This person still, to some degree, can see what's going on if they look down. As an experiment, okay, put a blindfold around you and make your way around the room. You will not see as clearly as you want to see, but if you look down, if you peer down, there are still parts of your path that you are able to make out. So, I don't know how informative this reading has been for you guys, But, like I said, small puzzle piece in the grand scheme of your lives. I feel like May is very pivotal for that to come together. It will be characterized by highs and lows, ups and downs, moments of clarity in the midst of a very foggy atmosphere. So yeah, okay, Pisces. I did not feel the need to clarify any of these cards, simply because I don't know how much clarifications with other tarot cards is going to help in this case. You have your intuition, though. Use it to make whatever decisions you need to make this month. Otherwise, I wish you all the best. I will see you next month. And I will bring you updates in another video very soon, I hope. So take care until then. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching.